Man, this is surreal. Why do so many white people perpetrate their whiteness the way they do? In this nihilistic, toxic, destructive way. And then behave like they can't help themselves, but do this. When we try to tell them about themselves. Why do you behave like this? All of this destruction I'm seeing this morning in the stock market, that's literally destroying my 401k right now and everything that everything that recovered from the pandemic. Everything's being wiped away. Our government is being wiped away violently. I mean, violence is not just with firearms and taking of life. It's the indirect way that they're going to take people's lives that they're doing with the government right now. The whole RAGE initiative that's in full swing. Retire all government employees. It's surreal. And with the seeming fear that a lot of these GOP politicians who predated MAGA are treating MAGA with. They're just supplicating themselves to MAGA. A really pitiful example is Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham, Thune, all of them, McConnell, all of them, that supplicated themselves to MAGA. It all helms on whiteness again. You try to tell me, if there was a black organization who was as nihilistic to the structures of American civilization, to the structures or the so-called uneasy detente between certain socio-cultural and racial groups, as MAGA is. You trying to tell me that collectively this country would not have got together to basically physically remove the perpetrators from the board or extract them from society, and or make that kind of ideology socio-politically and socio-culturally toxic, as MAGA is? The only reason this kind of like unapologetic, insistent demand to make white mediocrity the pinnacle of excellence, to impugn white mediocrity and white subpar capability in this, when it comes down to it, to make white subpar capability be the standard of excellence, be taken as excellence, or else you will have professional and sometimes even literal death. You're trying to tell me that isn't helmed, that isn't because of whiteness? That, what I just described, is the toxic, hapless, insistent, consistent kind of like perpetration of whiteness, an expression of whiteness that I keep talking about. And a lot of you white folks just seem to can't help yourself. Like you don't know of any other way to be white but that. Something about Trump appeals to your whiteness at a very guttural level. So even though you were told what he was going to do, you just couldn't bring yourself to you just like him for some reason, you just love him for some reason. He just fills you with this kind of butterflies, just giddy, you just love him for some reason. Because he's the latest scion of this extremely toxic and destructive, nihilistic, hapless, insistent, entitled, and consistent expression of whiteness that you, like at a subconscious level, you just seem to can't get enough of, you just seem to can't resist. And this is why this country is being destroyed. These motherfuckers actually think they can take us back to pre-stock market crash in 1929, turn of the century. They actually think that they can go back to that time where America was engaged in militaristic capitalism, where they were essentially taking over countries, grabbing new territory. And the only income that the government had to depend on was tariffs. They had no income tax whatsoever. Oligarchs, barons, and everybody had complete control of the population. There were just a few rich guys there who basically decided how that income would be spent. And they owned the government.
Yeah, that was really insane. That's a literal impossibility. Life in this country is going to be hell for the rest of us. And all of this backlash, is because mainly black people tried to put a mirror up to white people to show them how ugly the version of whiteness they've been choosing to perpetrate on the world. But let's stick to the country. How ugly that version of whiteness is. I think collectively, a significant majority of white people, notice I said majority, I didn't say all, a significant majority of white people seem to think that this toxic version of whiteness is kind of like the only way they know how to be white. It's the only way they know how to be white. It's the only way. They think that how they are, how they operate is, listen, we're white. What do you want us to do? I mean, that's not like a lot of overt, like the overt racists and them, they say that. But a lot of white people, even the left, even so-called liberal white people, are kind of saying the same thing collectively, subliminally, subconsciously. And go argue with your mama because you don't have access to your subconscious. How can you consciously avail yourself of your subconscious? So go argue with your mama where that's concerned. Hence, when we try to show them about themselves, they had this huge backlash. Because it's almost like they're saying, what you're showing us is extremely ugly and disgusting. But that's what we are. We're white. How else you want us to be? We are white people. We can't help but be this way. What do you want from us? You're trying to make us feel guilty for being white. We can't help but be this way. This is the only way we know how to be white. With all the ugliness that you're talking about, what you're showing to us, yes, we're ugly like that. We do these horrible things, but we don't know how else to be white. What do you want from us? We want you to stop so he can save the country.